Welcome to another edition of this summit series, Self-Empowerment and Miracles. And today, my co-host Lori Rayan and I are speaking with Celia Fenn. She is here to activate New Earth, to bring in New Earth, and we're talking about creating miracles. We can feel it in this beautiful season of love and Christ light, and that is a beautiful place to start as we talk about the power of miracles during this time. I want to welcome Celia. Thank you, Celia. Welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's wonderful to be here.
We're just so happy that you're with us, Celia. I just want people to know just a little bit about you. You know, you're internationally known as a powerful writer, a channel, and a creative mentor. And she works a lot with the angelic frequencies and families of light. I've just loved over the years following your Archangel Michael channels. I love the work that you do with the dolphins, which partners with the work that I do. And I really enjoy the royal white lions that you work with, the star lions. That's so powerful and so incredibly close to my heart, I guess you would say. I love my partner is a cat, so it's just always wonderful to hear. She travels globally and she works online as a channel. She works with individuals and groups, and she does, seminars such as this to share her wonderful work with the world and helping people in their spiritual evolution. So we're delighted
And I
that you're
live in
here and
South
excited
Africa.
to see what you're going to share.
As I say, I live in South Africa, so I'm quite a long way from where you are. Laurie, we're 12 hours away from each other. So I really feel it's a global family coming together in this work for the new earth.
Very much so. One day I'm going to come to South Africa. I
I hope
definitely
you
want that
will.
on my bucket list.
It's as beautiful as Hawaii.
Oh, beautiful. So, Celia, tell us about this beautiful topic today as we're talking about self-empowerment and the miracles that come from being empowered. This is really the name of the game and how we bring forward New Earth. Yes?
Yes, and when you asked me to do this, I thought about it and I thought, well, it's the holiday season, and we always talk about Christmas miracles because they just seem to happen in the festive season. And I thought, why is that? And really, it's because people are in this frequency of joy and open heartedness and love and peace. And that is the ideal frequency for creating miracles. And what I feel in my own work is that miracles don't need to happen just at Christmas. They can happen every day. It's because if we are in this frequency of love and openness, then we can be creating everyday miracles. And as I was saying to you, the webinar I'm going to be offering is going to be called Creating Miracles 101, because I feel like we're just beginning to understand, excuse me, that we have the ability within ourselves to be the creators of miracles in an ongoing way. And if we think about Jesus coming to the earth, Christmas time and the birth of Jesus, and one of the things he was known for, apart from bringing the Christ consciousness, was also creating miracles. And he did all sorts of miracles, was healing and transforming water into wine and those kinds of things, and even resurrecting someone from the dead. But he also said to his followers that they would do things greater than he was able to do. And this is where we are now. We've reached the point where we are connecting with the flow of the Christ consciousness, and we're connecting with our ability to create miracles and to do greater things. And I feel that the greater things he was talking about, if we look at our world, is to bring peace to the earth and to turn this earth, to create the new earth, manifest the new earth, so that we have peace on earth. And if you think about it, this was something greater than what he did, because of course he didn't need to bring peace to the earth because it wasn't in the state it is in now. But here we are as Team New Earth, busy creating this wonderful and miraculous earth. And how do we do this? I think this is the interesting question for me, because having been doing this for a long time, like I'm sure you ladies have too, you know all about the law of attraction and matching frequencies and all these ways of creating. But Archangel Michael says the way of the new earth will be the way of dreaming. And he talks about accessing the field of dreams and walking in the dream world. And that is conscious dream walking. It's not going to sleep and dreaming. It's consciously dreaming as a way of creating. So we are raising consciousness and frequency to the level of what I call quantum causality, or the quantum field. So it's a place where your consciousness can connect with the quantum field and interconnect with it. And it's a place where Archangel Michael explained that our dreams are imprinted on the quantum field at the level of the plasma flows. And he talks specifically about water plasma. And then when they're in this flow of the quantum field, they can be energized into manifestation and into reality. And this is beyond time and space. It's actually something that happens in this timeless space of causality, which is very exciting because it means we can create anything, anywhere. Anything's possible in our creations, because you can decide, okay, I want to create something, but it's really not possible. For example, I want to create a house over there, but there's no space because there are already houses there, or there's belongs to the government, or whatever. You can go back in time and space and create that environment so that when you get there in 2023, that house will be waiting for you, because you are manifesting through time and space. And this is possible, as I said, in the quantum field, because it's outside of the constraints of time and space. And also, we're working with plasma, and specifically water plasma. And as you might know, we have 4 phases of water: solid, fluid, gas, and plasma. And plasma is the one we work with to create in the dream field. So really, it's an exciting, very exciting, I think, a way of looking at manifesting, because we are looking at the creative energy within us in almost like a fractal way, saying we are a fractal of the divine who created us, and then we have the ability to create in the same way that the divine created, by accessing the quantum field and using consciousness to create patterns and dreams and desires. And we can do this in a conscious way. And conscious means initially we do have to focus our intention and ask for things to be done. But after a while, it becomes natural and normal, because you are constantly interacting with the quantum field, and you're constantly in this higher place of consciousness. And so you're consciously and unconsciously, but with focus, creating miracles as you move through life. And I think that's just such a fabulous idea. I'm sure we do it anyway. We would do it if we weren't pulled down by lower frequencies. But just to move through life, constantly creating and manifesting in a way that is uplifting and beautiful, and just creates joy and radiance all around us. So accessing this, how do we access it? Connecting with the quantum field can be done through meditation and also through visualization. But if we want to stay at that space of high frequency, put it that way, we have to follow the model that was given to us by the Christ consciousness avatars, which was the Christ consciousness path, and that was Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. And I, of course, work a lot with Mary Magdalene. because I feel she was the avatar of the feminine Christ consciousness. And so we have this beautiful model of how to live on the earth with love, gratitude, acceptance, flow, patience, and above all, receptivity. And if we follow this path in our daily lives, then we are opening the way to the connection with the flow of dreams and desires. So just to kind of talk about that a little bit, love, to walk in the path of love means to love yourself as much as you love those around you. You can't love your neighbor. You can't love, as Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. You can't do that unless you love yourself and have compassion and kindness and even boundaries for your own life. It's very important to have gratitude. If you're always complaining and you're never happy and nothing's ever good enough for you, you're certainly not going to be reaching into higher consciousness, because one of the key steps into the higher level is gratitude. And to be in that space of gratitude by having a gratitude practice, maybe every day. And then living in acceptance, that you accept what is. You live in the present moment, and you understand that the past and the future are not your major concerns. What concerns you is being in the present moment and going with the flow, as we call it, just allowing life to flow, not resisting, and living with patience and kindness, and knowing that things come to you in the right time. And of course, receptivity, being open to receive. So if you have all of these things working for you in your life, you're not going to get in your way when you're trying to create something. You're not going to resist the flow of life. You're not going to miss opportunities, because you'll be just very gently flowing with this consciousness that leads you into the field of quantum possibility. So in that way of living, you have a very different relationship with creation and manifestation and miracles, because you're not demanding that miracles happen and putting your will and your force into it, like so much of what we do today in our culture is, pushing, using your will to try and create something. But here you're just very gently saying, this is what I want, or you see it in your visions or your visualizations, and letting it flow into manifestation. And this might sound impossible, but there's been a lot of work done on water and plasma, and showing how water imprints images from all around, from consciousness, from what goes on. And that imprint then goes into manifestation from the plasma level. So when we say, I like to use the model from the Bible, in Genesis, where God said at the beginning, let there be light, and there was light. And God said it was good, and then he went on to create. So the model is, you decide what you want to create, and you say, let there be whatever you want to create. And then you express gratitude. It's good. Even though it's not arrived yet, you are grateful because it's coming, and it's coming into your life. And I remember too, going back to Sunday school and all that kind of thing, at the beginning when God was creating, the Bible says that the Spirit of God moved upon the waters. I don't know if you remember that. And I always used to wonder what waters it was. But it wasn't the ocean. It was the cosmic or galactic waters, which was this plasma field, galactic field, that the Spirit of God moved upon it and then created the earth and whatever. And of course, the ancient Egyptians also had this image of the galaxy as being an ocean, cosmic ocean. And in fact, the space is actually filled with plasma, water plasma, and some fire plasma. So the image of the boat on the ocean is reinforcing the concept that the quantum field and the space out there is actually water plasma that we can interact with with our consciousness. So that is basically what I wanted to suggest to people, is that at this time, when it is Christmas and the holiday season, and we have opportunities to be with our families and our friends, we can use our consciousness and our connection with the higher levels to start creating miracles for the new earth, whatever those miracles are that you want to create, whether you want peace on earth at the high end, or whether you want a nice bank account in your personal world. Whatever it is, you can either just visualize it to go into the quantum field, or you can use the command mode, say, let there be peace on earth, or let there be whatever you want to create, peace in my neighborhood, in my street even. So miracles can be as big or as small as you want them to be. But of course, because we are working with the new earth, we're asking for the big one, peace on earth, and for the new earth to be established in such a way that everybody can benefit from the magic and the miracles that are ongoing there. So I don't know if you would like to ask some questions, or I was planning to do an activation for people. Should we do the activation first, or would you like to ask some questions first?
Thank you so much. It really is empowering, feeling that this is conscious dreaming. And so as you're talking about consciously dreaming, it is being very aware of our thoughts and our actions and our deeds, and holding the vibration. And I know that if we fall off kilter of that vibration, is it okay to just come back and regain that frequency? Does it start the clock over again? Can you talk a little bit about that and consciously dreaming it?
You mean in terms of resetting your life and changing your life?
So if we're commanding something, maybe
Yes.
say, I want to bring in this new beingness, maybe most people are going to want to say prosperity. There be prosperity. Something happens in our life and we fall off kilter of that vibration.
And you go down.
And we go down. And so do we have to start all over again, or can we regain ground? Is there a miracle by tapping back into that frequency?
The way I perceive it is that we're always up and downing, some days we're really high and then we kind of go down into the lower level. So I don't think we ever lose connection with our creations. Once we've been there, we can go back there. And if we're having a bad day and we're really down in the dumps, that doesn't mean that your creation that you have already put in motion has gone away. It's still out there. It's just waiting for you to come back up and receive it. Because I do feel that quite often when we don't receive our creations, it's because we're in the wrong place to receive them. We're not at a frequency of receptivity and openness, and they just can't find us because we're looking the other way or whatever. And I also went through a period when I was creating things, but they were always going to people around me, and I kept thinking, like, wait a minute, how come this was my creation? And then somebody else got it. And I realized that I wasn't open. They were going right past me and somebody else was grabbing them. Saying, oh, that's nice. So it is a matter of being open and saying, yes, I'm really open and grateful, because I think in my heart, I was not really believing that it would come to me. And of course it didn't. It went to the next person because they were more open. This was a dynamic in my family. My sister was very open and whatever, and she got everything. And I used to see it going past. Like, what's going on? And it took me a long time to work out that it was my own not being open to receiving what was coming through in the channels of creation. So I don't think people should worry about falling out of it, because it just goes back up again, if
I
you're
think
aware
what you're
of,
speaking on, sorry.
go ahead.
I was just saying, I think what you're speaking on is so prevalent now in the teachings that a lot of us do, is helping people come back to the heart. Because when you're in the heart and you've moved out of this analytical process of the mind, um, you can feel self-love, you can feel compassion and empathy and absolute forgiveness, from the place of gratitude. And that was the biggest move for me, is because I think I was born a very analytical person, and I think our society and our culture teaches us to be analytical. It teaches us to compete, and to pit ourselves against each other, and to not necessarily feel blessed and
What comes
understand the
from
law of
that
attraction. And so
is
for me, when I'm teaching, and I think you're such a good teacher, and this is helping people come back to that vibration of joy and happiness and understanding the higher energies that are available to help us every moment. And then if you don't mind, at some point, I'd love you to just say a few words about your channeling, because so many people follow you and they respect it. And, so many people are kind of on the cusp of that. They're stepping into, am I a good listener? And am I able to move into some type of channeling of the higher realms? So that there's a couple of things I wanted to bring up.
well, I feel that it is a matter of opening the heart and the heart being part of it, but it's also a
Yeah.
self-worth thing, because in my case, I wasn't loving myself. I was very good at loving other people, so I was giving them
Right,
all my
right.
stuff, and I wasn't loving myself enough to say, no, this is mine, it's for me.
Mm.
So that's as I agree with you, I'm saying for me it was self-love and learning to say I'm worthy to receive, because so many people are good at manifesting, like I am. I'm actually very good at it, but as I say, it was going elsewhere. But I had to say to myself, I'm worthy to receive these things
Yes.
and to feel that. As far as channeling goes, as you say, I've been channeling for a long time. I started in 2004 to work with Michael. So that's pretty much 20 years. And, I'd like to say it was, how can I say? I did have an experience with Archangel Michael when I was 5 or 6. I remember seeing this beautiful angel and looking and thinking, oh, and telling my mother there's this beautiful angel, and she said, yes, dear, as mothers do. So
Where were
I was
where were you when you saw that angel? Please, were you in your
uh,
bedroom? What
no,
happened?
I actually was going outside, so I opened the door into the garden, and there was this huge angel, and I slammed the door, I'm fried, opened the door again, and there was the angel was still there.
Wow.
Um, but I felt, at that stage, you just kind of, well, oh wow. But he was huge, big angel. He wasn't a human-sized angel. So that was a miracle in itself. And I only understood what that meant when I started channeling, which was, as I say, 20 years ago. So I went through a large portion of my life with that memory, but not knowing what it was for. And I think it was Michael coming to me to say, I'm here and we're going to be doing some things together, but not for a while. So that when I did start working with him, that memory made sense. And I found, as I said to Laurie, I was going to say it wasn't easy um, to open myself to that frequency. I found it very difficult. And I know when I was traveling, I used to go to a country and do my channels and my webinars, workshops in those days, seminars. And then I would come home and I would literally collapse because my body was fried, from having to work with that very high frequency. But I found now, as we've moved into the new earth, it's easier because our bodies are rising in frequency. So we don't have to struggle so much to hold these higher frequencies. So it definitely is easier now than it was back then.
Beautiful.
So I don't know if that answered your question, Laurie.
Absolutely. I just think I want to encourage people, and I know you do too, to move into that frequency where,
Yeah.
well, here's an example. For years, people said to me, oh, she channels her cat. And I would look at them and I didn't want to correct them, but I wanted to say, we're just talking. I don't know how that word channeling comes into, I'm channeling my cat. I'm talking
Yeah.
to Celia, I'm talking to Lorraine. Am I channeling or am I just having a conversation? Because when you open
Yeah.
up to that, what the word I guess is telepathy, then from the perception of the person, like myself, I'm just having a conversation. I'm just talking to my cat because I can hear her voice. And I know many people can. They hear maybe the voice of an angel or their guides or an animal or a goddess. I don't know, all of these different support beings that are around us. And then I think it was 2012, another voice came in, and it wasn't necessarily coming from Buddha, from my cat. It was coming from a higher realm, and that
Yeah.
really was her higher self. And we now know that being a Seth. So it shifted for me, and there was a time of disbelief that something else was going on. Also, it was more of a male voice, a much stronger voice than the voice of Buddha, who's loving and cuddly and friendly and loves everything and everyone. So that then became, I guess you would say, my first instinct to think I'm channeling now this higher energy. I'm not having a conversation in the sense of they're in the room and we're physical, so to speak. And so from that perspective, I started to think one of the ways I can help people is to help them open up to become a better listener. And so that they can stand on that edge of potentially channeling somebody that's, this higher frequency. And so we started doing some channeling classes, and a lot of people broke through, so to speak. They just needed that support and that encouragement. And so you're just such a good example. And I just wanted you to share from that perspective. I mean, you're a shining light for people that do want to channel and also that enjoy receiving the messages from the higher realms.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I don't actually hear voices, although sometimes they do talk to me, but I don't literally hear voices. I get downloads. And then it's up to me to write out what I've received, so my skill as a writer comes in. And that's why for me initially it was quite difficult, because you get landed with a whole download of material. And I found that I needed to get it out, otherwise I would get irritable and scratchy and nervous, because it's like light language that comes into your body, and then you've got to write it down. But as you were saying, Laurie, there's such a joy in actually writing it down and getting it down. And this is what I found in the last maybe 3 or 4 months. I've been working nonstop because my guides keep saying to me, you must get this out, you must get this out, you must get this out, So there seems to be a kind of pressure, or if you want to call it that, or push, or something gentle to say, because of the times we're living in, there is such a need for this information that you have. And all of us, I'm not saying me, just all of us, we are needing to focus on getting the information out into the world, because people need to be able to create miracles. Or one of the other projects I'm working with is called the Flower Garden of Mary Magdalene, which is about healing and working with natural remedies and whatever. So all these different things that people need to know in order to make sense of what they perceive is going on around them. If they don't have a knowledge of the new earth or how to make miracles, we need to get this out to them. And so we will find that we're being asked to channel or do workshops or whatever much more than we were before. I don't know if you're not finding that as well.
I would align with that.
People are really getting the information. They might not know what to do with it. That's why it's wonderful to hear you speak, because downloads, some people get them in different ways. Some may hear the voices like Laurie. Others may feel the inspiration, a lot of information coming in like you, and having to write it down. But then sharing it is key. Sharing it is vital. And so maybe maybe both of you can speak to this, the trust factor. The trust factor that this is something, it's not just your imagination, that these ideas that are coming, and isn't it interesting, ideas that can come to us, we'll see other people, if we don't act on it, it's an idea, we don't own it, it's out there. And so I think maybe humanity is receiving this from an angelic level and beyond in a multitude of ways, but it's the action that we take on it, and it's the trust. So how do you cultivate the trust? That's part of being open as well. Trust is a huge component.
Well, I would say that I've been doing it for so long. When I started, it was like, okay, what is this? And is this really, look, to go back to really where I started, I was like, who is this? And what is this information about? And when I started channeling, My guides actually took me out into the countryside, like once a month. I had this cottage, and they trained me to channel. And my first channel took almost a year. It was a big channel, but it was getting to the point where I could actually hear what they were saying. It goes back to Laurie's comment about hearing. And for me, the hearing was the download. I wasn't listening to someone talking. I was understanding that I had information and I needed to write it down, and that it flowed together. It was a flow of information. And after a couple of years of trusting the process, I began to see how it all fitted together. And even when I was in my traveling phase, which was 10 years long, I would pitch up. I hate to admit this, but I would arrive at a place and I would not know what I was going to be doing. And Archangel Michael would just say, don't worry. When the time is ready, you'll know what to do. And it always worked out. The information always came and what Archangel Michael was trying to train me to do was to be open to receiving in the moment and not always preparing, ahead. Because of my background as an academic, I was used to preparing everything. And now he was saying, like, don't prepare anything, just be open to receiving. So that is what you talk about as the trust factor. It's very important. You have to trust. If you don't trust, then your ego will say, oh, that's just nonsense, or what do you think you're doing? Or, that kind of conversation will come up. But you have to trust your soul purpose, and you have to trust that there is a higher force, an angelic force, coming from the causality realms, the creative realms, and helping you to do the work that you do. I don't know if that resonates with you, Laurie.
Absolutely, it really does. I think it's so important to move into trust. I think I'm so blessed because I was born that way. I remember my mother saying, "Why do you trust?" I mean, not maybe of why, but that she was taking note that I intuitively trusted everyone, and she was concerned for me that, being so trusting of everything and everyone that I might get hurt. And she'd say to me, "Tell me about that," and I would talk to her, and she said, "When you meet someone," she says, "it's like most people, there's a little initiatory period where when you're speaking to them or you're listening to them, you're taking it with a grain of salt," she says, and you're learning, is this someone trustworthy? Is this someone I want in my life? Does it feel good to be with this person? And she said, you're not like that. You just go up to all the strangers, you go up to everybody. And she said, can you tell me about that? And I said, well, let's do it this way. I said, picture a jar of 100 jelly beans, and everybody gets the jar with the full jar of 100 beans. And I never take one away from them until they do something or say something that hurts me, or that I feel like it's not in alignment with, I don't know if those are the words I used as a child, but I was saying everybody gets the beans. I mean, God, and my perception was God gives everybody the jar with 100 jelly beans. And I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be like God. I wanted to say, I trust everything and everyone until you would give me information otherwise. And so that's how I started. And did I get hurt a lot? Oh yeah. I,
Yeah.
invite people into my life that were not necessarily trustworthy. But I think it's an intuitive quality. And I think it's worth nurturing, even if it does put you on that line where maybe this person's not for my highest and best good. But I will tell you this, it helps you develop your intuition. It helps you tap into that frequency of the higher consciousness that we want to receive. And so when I started channeling, it was because I just was so inquisitive. I was naturally telepathic with Huda, but that took me to a place where, she'd be communicating with the Pleiadians, or she'd talk about the Sirians and the dolphins. And I'm like, I want to talk to them too. I want that. And so I really reached for that. I really asked for it. And so I would encourage people that want to channel or even just communicate with an angel to really ask for it, to really open their heart to it. And then, be quiet and listen, and you'll be surprised, I think, what you'll receive.
It's also, I would often say to people to write, because I started as a written channel before I started verbal channeling. So I found writing in a journal every day was an ideal way to just let that, whatever it was being downloaded, let it out, and then I got so proficient at that. And then Archangel Michael says, now you have to talk. And I was horrified, because I thought of, sitting in front of a group of people and not knowing, what if he's not there that day or he's doing something else? But again, it's that trusting process that you just trust that. And I remember the biggest challenge I had with that was I was invited to a big conference in the States. And I had to do 5 presentations. And you know what life is like. By the time I got to the plane and on the plane, I hadn't even thought of what I was going to do yet, you know. And by the time I got there, I was totally exhausted and I still didn't know what I was going to do. And that was when Archangel Michael said, just be open. And it was perfect. It just flowed, you know. And I realized then that it wasn't me. It was me getting out of my way to allow this beautiful information to come through me. So that is the process of just trusting what the process is and getting out of the way and allowing the information to come through. And as Laurie says, I think everyone can channel, actually, whether you're channeling your higher self or your cat. I talk to my cat. She's very cheeky, but I haven't thought of channeling it. But it's such a joyful process, you know, to be able to connect and communicate with an angelic being or a higher being. And also my higher self. I have wonderful conversations with my higher self. And my higher self calls me little one. Says, don't worry, little one, it'll all be fine. And I think, well, how little am I, you know? But to my higher self, I'm a little one. And I get this loving energy that says, don't worry, we're going to look after you. And I always trust that my higher self is looking after me, and we have this relationship between us. And that is also miraculous, because I think most people go through life feeling very lonely and as though there's no one to take care of them. But even when I'm having a very bad day, I have this beautiful voice that says, don't worry, little one, it's going to be fine. And I know that's my higher self speaking to me. So it is, I feel that my life mission, my soul mission, which is part of which the major part has been to channel, it's been a miracle and a gift. It wasn't expected. I wasn't brought up in a background where channeling was approved of. It was considered to be, I won't go into it anyway. So when I started doing it, it was very surprising, because it wasn't a process that I had expected would be part of my life. I'd expected that I would be writing beautiful English because I have this PhD in English. So I thought this was what I was going to do. But of course, they were training me to write beautiful English so that I could do good channels. So I realized this, you know, the flow in my life, and brought me to the place where I was going to be offering myself in service to the angelic realms, to Archangel Michael, so that my skill and his information could come together and create something that was, I don't know how to say, people appreciated it. Because when I first started channeling back in 2003 or 4, we were just going into this whole ascension waves and the new earth. And that was the information that I was getting. So a lot of people who didn't understand what was happening to them were able to feel, okay, this is what's happening to me, it's okay, because of the channels that I was doing with Archangel Michael. So I appreciate that I was able to serve in that way at that time.
Beautiful. I think the wisdom that comes through from this place you're speaking of and that we've gone to is important for people to know, and that can be a sign. You know, we're talking about self-empowerment, and I think when you start to tune into these higher frequencies, your support team, your animals, you're going to receive wisdom. And it's going to be evident that this is information that you didn't necessarily have on your own. That's a special day, you know, when you can get that wisdom and the messages of the future, or the messages of how to do this or go there. They're there, you know.
That's very much what I'm working with. Also, another project I'm working on is called the Golden Rose Gathering, which is for women over 50. It's for wise women and elders. And to bring forward the tremendous gifts that these women have. Because in the lower frequency cultures, women at this age are sort of pushed aside, and you know, you're not worth anything anymore. But in the new earth, these are going to be the teachers and the leaders and the channels and the wise women, and we're going to be doing amazing things. And that's why I was asked to again bring this group of women together and help to empower them to see that they have the most amazing gifts to offer at this stage in their lives. So that's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to the new earth so much, because I feel that we have so much to offer, and we're going to have so much fun doing it, creating miracles, working with quantum fields, and channeling angels and all these beautiful things. And one of the things that I find difficult that's going on in the lower levels of the spiritual community is this criticism of channels and teachers, like, this is wrong, you're wrong, and this is wrong, and you're not in the right path. And it's kind of undermines you sometimes with all the people doing such wonderful work, and then there's this scratching and criticism that goes on. So I'd encourage people to be more open, to have discernment, of course, but to be more open to the actual miracles of communication and guidance that are coming through at this amazing time in our spiritual journey. And I especially think that next year, 2024, is going to be a huge year for people who are genuinely serving the light and on their soul mission to work to help people. It's going to be a year when we uplift a lot of people into the new earth. I like to see it like a lift going up and say, come and join us up here, because it's a bit rough down there. So come up to the higher levels and experience what I call the path of simple joy and abundance, because that is what the new earth is. It's this simple place where joy and abundance are offered to you: love, compassion, flow, and miracles. And, at this time of the year, I think people need to feel that this possibility is there, because there's so much negativity in the world at the moment, with wars going on and economic crises and crises and elections and whatever. So it's time for us to start offering and trusting, as Laurie said, that this will bring us to where we need to be. Everybody lifting people up into this next level. And I'm excited about that. I think that's one of the reasons why I've been working so hard, because Michael keeps saying we need this information out there so that people can find it next year when things start to happen. I don't mean things happen negatively, but I think a lot of people are going to find that the way they've been living is not working for them anymore, because they've pushed themselves to the cliff now. And now the only choice is to jump off, which of course is jumping up. And we have to show them how to, take this leap of faith into the next level. So that's what I feel is going to be the miracle for people, to realize that they're not going to fall off the cliff. They're actually going to fly. And to realize
I think
that
it is a time of new choices, and people will be pleased with the fact that, I don't know about you, but I think some of the greatest things I've done in my life was because I was pushed, to back against the wall. I have to make a choice now and have the courage to go that direction as opposed to this direction, or to not fall back on something that was, minuscule, but I thought was important. And I think that you're right. More and more people are coming to that place where they're going to have to make a choice. And I think we're here to tell them, go for it, do it, you'll be pleased. Move forward with love and light and trust yourself.
I know for myself, I crashed a few times. People do crash. We do crash. I've crashed 4 or 5 times in my life, but I've always come back, and I've always been guided back, and there've been people to guide me and help me. And that's what we need to be for people, is to, when they reach these points where they sometimes crash or take a leap of faith or get pushed off, to know that there are people who will help them because they've been there themselves.
Yeah. Choose again. So Celia, do you have an activation for us, I think, that you want to share?
Well, I've run out of time, so why don't I could do the activation in the webinar that I'm offering to people if they would like that. It's kind of, I don't know how much time we have.
We are good on time. And I want to just say that, it's a frequency that we're reaching for. New Earth is a frequency. And so maybe just give us a little experience of this frequency. And yes, thank you.
Well, we're going to work with Archangel Michael. So the way I start is just to connect with the heart. And just take a deep breath and connect with the divine light within. And then let that energy move down your body through the base chakra, through the earth star, and down to the center of the new earth, where you connect with the divine light, the center of the earth. And then as you take another breath, you bring that energy back up and hold it in your heart. And now move that energy up through the crown chakra, through the soul star, and up to the cosmic heart, the center of all that is, connecting with divine love and compassion, and bringing that energy down into your heart. Now you are balanced between heaven and earth. And so just expand that energy out into your light body. And so we join together now, from heart to heart and from soul to soul. Everyone who is listening or watching this webinar, this experience, is part of the circle. And into the circle, we invite the presence of Archangel Michael to be our guide in this activation. Beloved ones, this is Archangel Michael, here to share with you and enjoy with you the new earth and the new energies and the frequencies of miracles and creation. We ask you to just take a deep breath with us and imagine yourself standing in a very beautiful place in nature, maybe on a beach or in a field or by a waterfall, and just feeling the energy flowing down into your body, and your heart is open. And so you open all your chakras, starting with the heart. Feel the energy flowing, solar plexus, sacral, and the base chakra, all flowing beautifully with these new earth energies. And then the earth star chakra beneath your feet, and the earth heart, all of those chakras flowing beautifully. And then going back to the heart, and then moving up the throat and the brow and the crown chakra, all flowing beautifully. The soul star chakra, and then above that, the solar chakra and the galactic chakra, and then the universal chakra at the center. And feel how the energy is flowing. And as it flows beautifully, it creates a sphere of light around you. And this is your light body or your holographic body. And as you become accustomed to this beautiful energy, you realize that you can move up through the chakras, through the galactic chakra, and out into the galaxy. And here you are in the galactic waters, the galactic ocean, in amongst the stars, feeling the divine energy of creation. Because here you are also, beloved ones, in the field of infinite possibilities and causality, the place where miracles are made. And so, beloveds, we ask you just to let that energy become a part of you, of how you feel. You may feel bright, starry energy, fiery energy, or you might feel a beautiful, clear river of light flowing around you. And you may be aware of legions of angels, beautiful white beings of light. And you may be aware of dolphins and whales, those who live in the cosmic oceans and also in the oceans of your earth. And as your heart is open, and as you are connected to the angelic realms and the galactic realms, it is time for you to create a miracle together. So say in your heart, let there be love and peace on earth. And so it is, and it is good. Let there be harmony and abundance on earth. And so it is, and it is good. And be open to receive that in your life. And then, beloved ones, ask for whatever you might need for your own personal miracle. Let there be love in my life. Let there be abundance. Let there be ease in my life. And so it is, and it is good. And you are grateful. And so, beloved ones, you can hear the angels singing, and the beautiful dolphins, and the whale songs, and colors and lights, and such beauty, and such joy that your heart is singing with love. And so together as a group, just send those energies down to the earth. Feel healing and the love flowing to the earth in a river of sparkling light. And see how the hearts of humanity are opening to receive this river of light. And so we ask that every being on earth may be blessed in this beautiful holiday season. And may there be peace on earth. And so we thank you for being part of this activation and for opening your heart to receive the love and the joy that is there for you always and that is manifesting now in the new earth. So just bring yourself back into your physical body, connect to your heart, take a deep breath, and we thank you for sharing with us in this activation. And now we return you to the channel to complete the process. So as you take another deep breath, you can just feel yourself in your body now. Stretch your arms and legs and your neck. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And water is always good after an activation. It just helps to ground you and clear the energy in your physical body. So we thank Archangel Michael, and I thank you for sharing with me.
Thank you so much. Beautiful.
Yes.
I think I can feel the energy. There's a definite energy field that comes when Archangel Michael works with galactic energies and healing energies for the earth. So thank you for allowing me to do that with you.
I loved it. There was great warmth that was in the energy for me. Great warmth. I mean, really some heat, but then grounding that into the planet. Wow, what a roadmap for all of us every day to bring that frequency Again, it's a frequency, and it's a frequency that we can anchor into the earth.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That is what we are here to do for the new earth, is to actually anchor that frequency so the new earth can exist around us, because that's how we create it, by anchoring the energy and allowing the earth to interact with us and create these, we call them pockets of new earth, that eventually will join together to create the new earth. And of course, it is a frequency. It's people in that frequency finding themselves, finding each other, and finding places to be where they can connect that frequency. So I think very much so it's about watching your frequency and ensuring that you are at high frequency. And I do this myself by having daily practices, morning and evening, for gratitude and love and connecting to the higher frequencies, so that I'm doing it all the time, and trying to remind myself that, as you know, as we spoke earlier, where you drop out of it because you had to go to the mall and you had to do your shopping, and then you're down there, but you can go up again because you are conscious of what frequencies you're on and of maintaining the higher frequencies.
Beautiful.
I think what you presented is just so important to help people really connect to their higher self, the soul affirmation that people are seeking now. Well, wherever you are in your consciousness, we can always go higher. We can always bring in more light and anchor it every day to become carriers of more light. And
Yeah.
Your process and your work is so incredibly endearing and powerful and beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And
I
happy
really
birthday. You're in the
yes.
frequency of your birthday, this window still of your birthday. I want to say happy birthday, and happy birthday to all the birthday babies out there. Every day is a miracle day. Every day is our birthday. Every day is Christmas. I've seen this when I lived on Guam, and it was hot outside. It was the tropics. And here it was, I was used to being in the winter in Christmas. But I noticed the vibration of this harmony, this joy, this love that everyone had. And I felt it, and it brought me to tears. And I said, wow, why can't we have this every day? New Earth is this every day.
It's Christmas every day, and it's miracles every day. And when you're in that frequency, as you were saying, it is like that. Life just seems to be such a miracle all the time. And then you do notice when you drop out, because all of a sudden you're back in this place of, what is this place? And you've lost that connection to the miraculous. And so, but if you know what it's like, you can always make your way back. And I think as we progress in anchoring New Earth, we will be able to spend more time there than we are now, because we won't drop out so much, because there'll be more of us there, and it'll be easier to hold the frequency. I remember having dreams years ago when I'd arrive at this beautiful place and there was no one there but me. And I was looking for, where are the others? But I think the others are arriving now. So more and more we are conscious of all the other people who are joining us in this frequency.
I agree. My partner says we have to become addicted to the love space. So if you fall out, so to speak, you're like, oh, no, I got to get to the love, back to the heart, back to the joy, because it becomes so important in your life.
It's the beauty of, and the harmony and the creativity as well. Because the earth is so beautiful. I don't think people realize that, when you live in a city and there's so many things that distract you, to realize how absolutely beautiful the earth is, and what a miracle we are as humans in our human bodies, that we are miracles.
Yes. Life is a privilege. Yeah.
Life is precious.
It's very, and that's why as we get older, I'm being told by Michael that we're going to live longer. But as you become older, you become more aware of what a privilege life is, and that, when you're younger, it just seems hard and struggles and whatever. But as you get older, you realize what a gift it was to actually be on the earth, and to connect with your soul, and to be able to follow your soul. A lot of people, I would say the majority of people, don't know what their soul mission or what their soul work is. So to be able to say, I connect with my higher self, I know what I'm here for, and I'm doing it, that is a tremendous gift. But it's also, as I say, available to everyone. If you go deep enough in and you listen enough, as Laurie said, you will find what your higher self has to tell you and what you need to know. So that's
That
why
was a huge motivation in creating this,
Yeah.
self-empowerment series. It's just that, just what you just said. I think people find that calling, if you will.
And I think more and more people are. I'm looking at the next generation, of young people coming up. And say young, I mean people in their 40s and 30s and whatever, but they're full of ideas and amazing things. So I feel that this is just expanding in a wonderful way. The whole concept of the new earth and the new frequencies. It's really, really beautiful. And so I do feel privileged to have been doing it for at least 30 years or more, working with a coherent narrative, as they call it, with coherent and fluid and manifesting now into something wonderful.
So beautiful. I know folks are going to want to work with you. You've got a webinar that you're holding, and all the information is right here on this webpage where you're watching or listening to this program, or in the description link of wherever you're watching or listening to this program. And that is a magical time with you, Celia. Tell us more about this webinar and the accompanying PDF.
Yeah, it's going to be about the material I talked about creating miracles. And it's going to be about how, as I call it, Creating Miracles 101, it's about how to create miracles or how to reach the frequency where you can create the miracles. And it's going to be a 90-minute, 60 to 90-minute webinar. And of course, I am offering with that a little PDF booklet so that you can have all the information also in written form, which will be available after the webinar, because you'll be able to attend the webinar live, or if you can't make it live, you can get the recording. It will be available to you on my website with the PDF book. So you don't have to be there in your personal capacity of presence, but it would be nice if you could be, but you can also listen to it later on the website. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm looking forward to it. We did agree that it would be a Saturday, the 16th of December. So that will be just before the festive season. So you'll have your miracle kit all ready so that you can create some wonderful holiday miracles.
A beautiful program as we move into the new year as well. A really empowering time. The year of the 8. Beautiful. Create those miracles.
Yeah.
Celia, thank you so much for this beautiful session today. We are elated, still feeling the frequency of that. And I know that we can tap into that in all ways if we should not hold it. If we find ourselves no longer holding it, it's easy to return to. You've shown us that path along with Archangel Michael. I just want to give you a moment for any final thoughts.
I just want to thank you both for inviting me to do this presentation with you. And just to say to everyone out there is so much love and light and energy flowing into the planet at the moment, and it's available to everyone. So no one needs to feel lonely or depressed or fearful or anxious. You just open your heart to receive this love that is pouring into the planet to support you in your raising your frequency and bringing you into the new earth, where you will feel the joy and abundance that is your birthright on the earth at this time. And this is Archangel Michael's message to all of us, to just allow and be open to this flow of love and support that is coming to us.
Thank you so much. So appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching and listening, and for raising your vibration and anchoring New Earth. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.